Hey everyone, how's it going? I hope you guys are having a good one. So, we have more news on the Visa and MasterCard debacle that is going on right now. When we last left Visa and MasterCard, well, we were left with this article. Visa and MasterCard are getting overwhelmed by gamer fury over censorship. Now, if you do not know what's going on, you can check my other videos if you'd like. There's a lot of other YouTubers better than me that cover this as well. But if you're here, thank you. But essentially, what's going on is, well, for a while, Visa and MasterCard have been asked to censor the internet in some sort of way. And in one of my videos, it seems to have gone back all the way to 2013, quite a while ago. And it seems like they're just taking these little steps, seeing how far they can push the bar until we say, well, you need to stop. But the problem is they never back up. They stay where they are and they wait and they wait and they wait. And they finally have experimented with this in Japan, where Japan is finally starting to push back. They did this about last year, where they shut down, where they basically told companies, we're going to pull our payment processors away from your websites if you do not remove X, Y, and Z. Basically, it all starts with degenerate content, right? And what they are effectively trying to go after is, and again, it is degenerate content, but it's all in the family stuff and non-consensual stuff from cartoon characters. It's not real people. It's not real events. It's all cartoon characters, okay? And yes, it can be deplorable to a lot of people. These are themes that are unsettling to a lot of people. But again, for me, they're not real people. They're not real events. It's art in some cases. I bring up Berserk, the stuff that happens in Berserk. There's other story elements that use some of those. And it seems like some of the games that are being removed just have elements of that are in a spicy nature. Okay, now I keep hearing conflicting reports on that. I heard like mouthwashing was delisted and then it's back on there. And mouthwashing is a game that it's a psychological horror game, and it has a mention of non-consensual stuff, okay? But it doesn't show anything. It's just kind of implied in the story, and it's very critical in the story. And I mean, that game is just amazing. If you haven't played it or seen anybody play, I highly recommend it because it's such a great story. But it's worrying a lot of people in the field who don't even want to look at the degenerate stuff, because how far is this going to go? How far are they going to push this? And for me, it's just like, well, this is the guise that they're going under. They want to get rid of the worst of the worst stuff and go from there. But they tried to do that with Japan, and the Japanese government is pushing back on this. They're looking into Visa and MasterCard now because, well, let's face it, guys, like, their culture and stuff is a lot different than the United States culture, the American culture. It's the things that they find acceptable. Gosh, somebody here? Nope. Sorry, I thought somebody was at the door. The things that they find acceptable or in art or whatever, they do like the tentacle stuff, right? Which is really weird, but that's something that they do in their art. And there's a lot of people who like to express their art in different ways, right? And I brought this up in my last video talking about this, where it seems like these companies for books like Barnes and Noble and stuff, or publishing companies, I should say, they can produce all these smutty books and stuff, but they don't get anything pulled. I read a script from a book called Icebreakers in my last video, and I mean, that book has a lot of stuff in it that is very, very deviant in nature, and there's a lot more worse books than that are on the shelves, and these books aren't age gated like video games are or like movies are. And it seems like these companies want to go after visual media instead of media that you just read. And I find that interesting too, because everyone says, oh, reading's a lot better for you because you could use your imagination or whatever. But I found that a little funny, but they're not going after that. It seems like they're going after the stuff on the internet now. And well, getting off topic a little bit, I guess, or going on a tangent, I should say. The gamers basically have decided to fight back, and one group that basically started all this, or at least claimed responsibility, is a group of Karens that live in Australia down under. They took responsibility for the censorship from payment processors on Steam, and they are called like Collective Shout, okay? And they have deemed anything that is basically harmful towards women and girls needs to be removed from the internet, essentially, is what I've taken from them. Now, they tried to get Detroit Become Human banned. They've successfully got GTA 5 banned from Australia, and there's probably many others. I'm sure Cyberpunk's going to be what was one of them. But basically anything that depicts women not being Mary Sue's, well, then they want it gone. And the gamers here who are basically fed up with that bull crap because, well, they don't have a right to tell us what we can and cannot buy, have decided to fight fire with fire. And they are all collectively calling these companies, these payment processing companies, to tell them, hey, listen, you can't tell us what we can and cannot buy. That's not illegal stuff. What are you doing? Like, you can't do this. You're overreaching. You're overstepping. And this is what we read in my last video. I read this. And it's funny because we finally got a statement today from Mastercard. Now, Mastercard responds to censorship allegations after forcing storefronts to remove adult games. Mastercard says its payment network standards are based on the rule of law. Okay. Now, this was written by Darian Bonthus. If I got the name wrong, I apologize. And it says adult games and games with adult themes have been delisted from digital game sales portals Steam and Itch.io recently, following pressure from companies that process those platforms payments to remove them. After an extended period of silence on the matter, Mastercard has released a statement and says that its recent actions are based on the rule of law and aren't an attempt to enforce censorship. Then why are you telling them to get rid of it? Okay, and we'll get into that in a second. Now, Visa did make a statement first. That was in my last video if you want to go check that out. But Mastercard's statement seems to be as follows. Mastercard has not evaluated any game or required restrictions of any activity on game creator sites and platforms, contrary to media reports and allegations, the company said. It continues. Our payment network follows standards based on the rule of law. Put simply, we allow all lawful purchases on our network. At the same time, we require merchants to have appropriate controls to ensure MasterCards cannot be used for unlawful purchases, including illegal adult content. Okay? Now, that's interesting, the rule of law thing, because I always wondered about that. Why don't these companies follow the laws of the countries that they're in? Obviously, each country is governed by their own set of rules, right? And it would make sense that, McDonald's would sell different products, different stuff in their products than they would in the States in some places. It's kind of like cereal in Canada and the United States. It's different, right? Because of like all the food preservatives and stuff in it that we unhealthy Americans eat. But I don't know why. Just to mark my spot. But okay, so this is before we continue, this was the new rule added by Steam's partner agreement or whatever, okay? Rule 15, content that may violate the rules and standards set forth by Steam's payment processors, and related card networks and banks or internet network providers, in particular, certain kinds of adult-only content. Okay? Now, that's a reason why I pulled that up is because of what they said up here. They did not evaluate any game or required restrictions of any activity on game creator sites and platforms. So why did Steam make this rule then? Now, Steam's been really quiet about it, I think. I think itch.io said something about this, but that kind of smells a little fishy. Something doesn't add up. It continues. It's worth noting that there has been no evidence that the games removed from Steam and itch.io included illegal content. And for an even deeper breakdown, Wired and CBC have detailed timelines on the entire situation so far. Now, what I have a feeling they're going to say is, they're going to say, hey, this content has grape in it, and it has All in the Family in it. That's illegal for real people, therefore it's illegal for cartoons. That's where I think they're going to go with this, because it's depicting something in a violent or taboo nature, right? That can be illegal. Same with loving your pets a little too much, right? That's what I think they're kind of trying to argue here. I don't know that, but that with that statement, that's what I feel like they're going to argue. Visa also put out a pre-written response to complaints via Polygon, adding that it didn't aim to make moral judgments on legal purchases. Well, again, why did Steam add this rule then? And why were you going after Japan so much? And that it was also adhering to the letter of the law. The pressure from the payment processors was apparently the result of a campaign by the Australian anti-spicy lobbying group Collective Shout, which has taken credit for the actions. As I said, a group of Karens down under. Collective Shout released an open letter claiming that Steam and indie games storefront itch.io hosted games with grape, All in the Family, and child not good stuff. It has also released statements claiming to have sent over 1,000 emails. About 1,000 emails and calls to payment processors. So this is what I was saying earlier. Gamers are starting to fight fire with fire, because if you remain the silent majority, the loud minority is going to seem like the majority, right? But it's urging them to threaten to pull support from those portals unless those games were removed. But the results have been the delisting of any game with vaguely defined adult content. Developers said, yeah, because like I said, with mouthwashing, I heard that was delisted. That had like nothing in it. Not a single boob. Not a single boob was in that game. And but it was implied that there was some sort of assault in that game. And again, it was all for the narrative purpose. And that's the thing. Are they going to go after games that it's actually important to the story? Because you have the degenerate content out there that is just there for the gratification, right? It's just immediate. There it is. Let's go. But there's also stuff that has this stuff in it that tells a story, or it's for a story purpose. And also like with Mass Effect or Dragon Age or games like that where there's a romance option. You have the scenes, right? The spicy scenes. Are those games going to get delisted because, well, the scenes may be a little too spicy? Well, probably not anymore, because those games are starting to be made by a lot of blue-haired Karens as well. But let's go ahead and continue. Let's see. I think I was about right here, but the result has been the delisting of any game with vaguely defined adult content. Developers say that games with LGBTQ themes, or content have been caught in the purge, and many have criticized the payment processors for arbitrarily enforcing their moral standards and collective shouts on what adults are allowed to buy and play. I think they should just say spicy content. I don't know why they have to just single them out, because it's not just them. Now, is it harming some of the content? Yeah, but it's also in a broader scale. It's just kind of like all dumped into the bucket, and I think it's just they're just wanting to play victim there, but I don't know why. In the weeks since payment processors have stopped supporting payments for adult content, several sites have been forced to take drastic measures. Steam began purging content from its storefront and made a vague update to its terms of service, while itch.io also began to de-index content from the site. The update was what we just read, and I'll read it again. Content that may violate the rules and standards set forth by Steam's payment processors and related card networks and banks or internet providers, in particular, certain kinds of adult-only content. So, it continues on the GameSpot website. Earlier this week, the site began to re-index adult and not safe for work content, adding that it is still in an ongoing discussion with payment processors. It's still in an ongoing discussion with payment processors. Now, what did they say up here? Mastercard has not evaluated any game or required restrictions on any activity on a game creator or sites or platforms. Okay. Itch.io has long used Stripe as its payment processor, but the financial site will no longer support the sale of adult content that fits the description of content designed for spicy gratification. On Itch.io, the last couple of weeks have seen massive pushback against the payment companies as games, organizations, developers, and artists have rallied together. The International Games Developer Association has called for greater transparency and fairness. Well, they should just say, this is freedom of speech. You're stifling the freedom of speech. Again, you have that shit in books, but you can't have it in movies or games. Like I said, the books don't have age restrictions. Anybody can go out and buy that Icebreakers book. In the moderation of adult games, while other groups have urged people to put pressure on the two payment processors and flood them with calls to register their concerns about censorship. So that is the latest news that we have on what is going on with the payment processors. This statement Mastercard has sent doesn't really add up to what we're hearing. I think it's all kind of a bunch of baloney just to kind of, cool the waters down a little bit. But I think they're full of crap. Listen, there was nothing wrong with the way it was. Okay. If you don't have the adult content filter on, I promise you're not going to see it. Okay. You won't. So that's pretty much it, guys. This is just, if they want to say anything, just say, do a better job at moderation for the parents and stuff like that. Listen, you need to set up parental controls. You need to, educate yourself better on X, Y, and Z, because I promise you, for those of you who don't use Steam, if you do not turn on that adult content filter, you will not see the adult content. Anything that's rated A for adults or whatever. You'll see the mature games, and you might see a boob here or there, but nothing as spicy and degenerate as what these are talking about. But again, it's freedom of speech, it's cartoons, what have you, right? Not real people, not real events, and that's okay. But let me know what you guys think about this. I'm going to go ahead and go. I have nothing else to say. This is just a bunch of baloney from MasterCard. They just, again, there was nothing wrong with the way it was. They just need to say, sorry, we won't do it again. And here in a couple of years, we'll hear about the story once more. But I'm going to go ahead and go, guys. Thank you so much for watching. And I want to say before I go, I'm at 49 subscribers. almost at 50. Jeez Louise. Thank you guys so much for that. I really appreciate it. I said it so many times now. I never thought I'd even hit 10 subscribers. I didn't even think I'd hit 5, to be honest. I was just doing all this for fun, just to keep myself, just doing other things, making videos for fun. Maybe my kids can watch it down the road when I get old and I can't really talk anymore, or heaven forbid I pass away. But that's really what this was for. And the fact that you guys are here and you actually enjoy my content, I really appreciate each and every one of you. You have no idea. I'm going to probably say that every like 20 subscribers, but for real, like, this is amazing to me. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for watching. I'm going to go ahead and go, and I'll catch you guys later. Take care.